Okay, we back. We back. Appreciate y'all coming back for the second pod. Let's get right into it.
Slaves
Why
who
did the
built
slave? Why did the slaves start at
the
quarterback in
slaves
Super
weren't
Bowl?
made.
They weren't slaves, nigga. They weren't slaves. They weren't
So the
slaves.
black people who built the White House weren't slaves.
No, they weren't. They were the same people who built the fucking African civilization. So what Big Game was saying.
Okay, well, let's switch it up just for one hot second. Boom. This is the White House Historical Association website, and it says that enslaved people built the White House. Now, it says enslaved laborers participated in every stage of building construction, from the quarry transportation of stones to the construction of the executive mansion. They worked alongside European craftsmen, white wage laborers, and other freed African American wage laborers. Um, we're gonna switch it up real quick. I found something interesting too. It says, of course, learn about slavery in the presidential neighborhood initiatives. And y'all should check this out. Y'all should go to this website and check it out. I might do a little something on here. It's very interesting. Many people think of the White House as a symbol of democracy, but it also embodies America's complicated past and the paradoxical relationship between slavery and freedom in the nation's capital. While there are few written accounts of the enslaved and free African Americans who built, lived, and worked at the White Houses, their voices can be found in letters, newspaper, memoirs, census records, uh, arc. What did I say? Article. Sorry, guys, it's late night. And other historical by connecting these details from diverse sources. The White House Historical Association seeks to return these individuals to the historic forefront. It's just, I guess, a little presentation. We might do a little something on it, but I found it interesting. Like anytime, this is, I think, the prime lesson of this. Anytime you have a theory or a thought, you should always try and investigate both sides of it. Look and see if he says so he was technically right and I was technically right. So both, but I don't think he meant it like that. I'm sure he did it, but he was right, right? So I mean, that's the thing between 20 odd niggas and Bronson James. I think that's the thing between fact checking. You know what I'm saying? Even your facts so much. You know what I'm saying? We kind of get just so used to shooting off at the hip, we kind of don't really check ourselves. So this is a nice reminder. That's why I was like, I knew kind of the slaves did, but maybe it was some white because it was a white dude who did who was the architect of it. So Massachusetts became the first colony to recognize slavery as a legal institution, and that was 1641. In 1642, the first cargo ship with 13 African Americans arrived to the Maryland colony. 1756 to 1763, 7-Year War. We'll look into that. Then 1775 to 1783, the Revolutionary War. And July 4th, 1776, of course, Declaration of Independence adopted by the Second Congressional Congress, Continental Congress, I'm sorry. 1787, the Three-Fifths Compromise. That's a little info, let's read. In 1786, delegates to the Constitutional Convention gathered to create a new government for the United States. As delegates debated the proposed constitution, they were forced to compromise on several issues, including representation in the proposed bicameral legislation, which each state would receive equal representation in the Senate. Two members per state. The number of seats in the House of Representatives will be determined by the population. Although enslaved people were considered property and did not have any personal rights or liberties. The compromise counted of each state's enslaved population for the purpose of representation and taxation. This provision blustered population counts from states that allowed slavery and increased the number of representatives in the legislation and electoral colleges, as well as codified racial inequality in the Constitution. All right, pretty interesting. In September 17, 1786, the Constitution signed at the Constitutional Convention. My apologies. The enslaved households of President George Washington. The enslaved people working in George Washington's presidential households in New York and Philadelphia were separate from the families at Mount Vernon. I bet they were. Let's see where we at. Uh-oh, we only got a few more minutes. But I thought this was very interesting as well. You know what I'm saying? So if you ever get a chance, look it up a little bit. Look it up. We got about 1 minute for another break. I'm wondering how I'm gonna break down these videos real quick. I'm just pre-recording these videos. I was just, of course we're gonna keep talking about this dude, but it was just interesting to watch. I'm gonna try and so we're gonna try and mash them all together. See how my editing skills is. I hope you guys are liking and subscribing to the video thus far. This is the conscious moron trying to learn something. Appreciate the pull up as always.